Hi guys, how you going? Campbell here from AutoDidactic channel. Hope you're all just fine and dandy today. And today I thought we'd take a look at Africa. Africa in the sort of 1600s, sort of between the resets as far as I can work out. And so to start with, this is a picture that I found. Now, it says it's from the 1700s. Sorry, 1600s. And as you'll see, like, we've just got fleur-de-lis everywhere. These are like flags off these guys, trumpets. Then we have all these shields. We've got all the usual sort of suspects. We have our knights, all with their shields in their boats, very sort of Phoenician-y looking, especially down here. These rowers not looking too happy with the lot that they've got. More fleur-de-lis, and look at this guy's got a top hat on. And so yeah, I just found this interesting because it says the expedition of Africa undertaken by the Duke of Bourbon as General-in-Chief with several other English and French knights at the Treaty of Genoese. Is that how I say that? So this looks like one of the first expeditions. Now, it didn't have a date on the actual down here. But this is basically what it looks like is, you know, people from Europe, Phoenician-y sort of looking people. I've got all the different sort of flat shields. Are they of the nations they've conquered and are now pretending to be? I'm not sure, but they're heading down to Africa. And so down in Africa, we have, now this is 1572, and it's called Arzilla. I'm not sure exactly where Arzilla is, but you can see straight away, huge star city, built out, walled. And we have these two just pillars, obelisks maybe. They got something on the top of them. And then up here on the cliff we have another thing, like a round, it's almost like an eagle on top of it there, or something. But this is 1500s in Africa, guys. And what are we told was in Africa in the 1500s? Not castles. This is just a picture of some of the inhabitants. And again, it's not really what we're told. And you'll notice up here we have a flying dragon. And yeah, so this is Africa. I'm not sure exactly where it is. Oh, here we go. It just says Africa. But yeah, look how these people are dressed. This person looks like a page boy, you know, very sort of medieval looking clothes. Got a nice brooch here, you know, very, I mean, they're not even shoes. I'm not sure what these are, socky things. Very ornate. I mean, look, buckles, belts, look at the clothes they're wearing. And then we've got this awesome moustache, cool hats. Got elephants and everything, dragons. Got a couple of people hunting an ostrich down here. And down here we have a cart pulled by lions. And some of, I'm not sure, the gentry maybe, or who knows. Kitty has decided to weigh in on the topic again. And she says, yes, we've all been told lies. Lies. Okay, they get it. Alright, that's my cat Tippy. She is 20 years old and deaf as a doorknob. And that's why she's very loud. She's extremely loud when she meows. Yeah, so Africa. So there we go. Like, nice pic of people in Africa. And that one was... they're not giving us a date again. 1700s by the looks of it. So again, this is, the Africa that we don't get told about. Whoops. And here again, this is Tripoli, which is in northern Africa. And I mean, straight away, look what's in the background. Just a huge, huge star city. Antiquitech everywhere. Boats. Domes in here. The big steeples. Okay, I think we have the cat situation under control. So here we go. Yeah, so huge, built out stuff all through the background. We've got remnants here too. And, kind of looking a little bit, flooded. Not exactly sort of standing square in the ground, is it? But these guys, the Africans or the Tripoli's, I mean, he's up in, it's pretty warm where he is, so he's not wearing a lot. But still, this is, woven cloth. This shield is quite intricate and nice. He's got, his bow and arrow, or his quiver and arrows. Not sure what this is in his other hand. Kind of disappears into the trees, whatever it is. And the lady here, see, what is this? This is, it's not like the stomach of a pig or something. This looks like, I'm not sure, some kind of woven basket. Nice handles. So these, these aren't people that were running around in the bush. And again, cloth, nice made, cut clothes, earrings. So again, just not the story that we're told of Africa and its inhabitants. 1670, this picture. Okay, now this is a book. I'll just wait for it to load. And this is illustrations of Africa in the regions of Egypt, 1600s. So 1600 to 1676 is the dates we've got here. And let's just have a little look-see. I've got a nice crocodile, some snakes down here. Lions again, just hanging out. No one seems too worried. That's some pretty cool water. And again, look at these drawings. Like, I want to look into this more as far as how they were drawn. This is the same thing. Lines, vertical and horizontal, like cross-hatching. And they just get, like, this is as far as I can zoom in, unfortunately, but like, look at the detail they get just from cross-hatching. Like that, like, look at that. So is this actually drawn by hand? I mean, look at this stuff. Alright, so let's have a look at the picture. So we have a guy up here sitting on a camel. He looks like he's got leopard skin on, so this is sort of more the traditional view we're given. And of course, Africa is a huge place. In the background, is that a pyramid with the sun at the top? Maybe the sun is the capstone. Who knows? A strange headed beast here. Don't know what that is, an ostrich or something. And then we have these guys. So I'm not sure who these guys are. They're probably the people that have come into Africa and are about to sort of destroy it. And of course they're sitting on this big old world structure made of bricks. So here we go, these are the people coming in. We've got a nice big old world building here. Someone with a wig and a book of law, no doubt. Oh, and this is actually written in English, or Old English. So they changed the letters around. It makes it a little bit hard to read. I'm not sure what the T is there. Enter. Oh, okay, that may be entering. Entering upon for greater work being no final concern in my territory of Buffanels. I suppose it proper, never apologizing heretofore by the way of preface to give you a brief review of all my former endeavors, so leading you on this present occasion. Oh gosh. Alright, I'm getting there. F's are S's and all this kind of stuff, but yeah, preface. So I won't read it all. The introduction and an accurate description of Africa. Elephant, rhinoceros, etc. Okay, so this is Alexandria. So Alexandria is, of course, in Egypt, and it's up near the delta. So this is the Nile Delta, basically. And as we can see, it's quite a hub, and it's quite a star city too. Again, it's not getting the best zoom on this book, but you can see this is clearly a walled star city. Got the wall coming around here. We've got a nice big tower out here. This is all the rivers, the delta, all the tributaries and things running inland. And as you can see, completely built out with huge old world buildings. Now we've got a big, see this? The sort of Romanesque, what they use as capital buildings now, big obelisk, cathedrals, the whole lot. 1600's Africa. This is Egypt, some of the plants. I'll leave the link in this description below too, and like I said, this one is readable. It's actually in Old English, so there's a few letters different, but you'll work it out pretty quick. This is Cairo. And again, that's as far as I can zoom in, but look at the size of Cairo back in the 1600's. And so a few things to point out is lots of pyramids down here, like lots. And I don't think that's Giza. I think this is Giza down here. And this, see how it's pretty much uncovered. You can see all the temple walls and everything. But I can't see any pyramids, so that may not be Giza. That may be another temple complex. But completely built out, and you can see again in this old world sort of city style. And here's one of those islands again that we see. And yeah, I'm having thoughts about what this is all to do with. And of course I'm thinking this is a river. And a river has current. Current. So Martin Liedtke did a recent video where he showed the world's expos and how they looked very similar to computer circuit boards, chipboards. And so, of course, chipboards and computers need a current, don't they? So all these words are sort of embedded, and we also have things like, they call Starforts. A lot of them are called batteries, aren't they? Of course, at every battery you have someone who's in charge. And they make people go and do a charge on the enemy. And if you don't do that charge, then they charge you in court-martial. Very interesting. Here we have a huge migration. These are camels. Very tall necks, so they look like alpacas, don't they? Cairo, the march of camels. Cut of camel Mecca. Oh, maybe they're going to Mecca. But that's a pretty huge caravan. And a lot of camels. Here we have some more plants. And some pyramids in the background. More plants. And again, they're pretty good drawings, aren't they? It's just so detailed. Even down to the castles in the background. Okay, so here we go. Now this is pyramids, obviously. And here we go, the figure of the second pyramid. The Egyptian pyramidal cell. I guess that's like cell as in C-E-L that we use, cell. The Egyptian's pyramidal cell, not described. So I guess that's what they're talking about, a cell. Interesting, they call it a cell. Because that looks like a sarcophagus. This pyramid, second pyramid, that still does have a capstone, doesn't it? Entrance into the Great Pyramid. Is that got a pyramid chevron sort of shape there. And here we've got a few measurements. The exterior face of the first and greatest pyramid. And this is the thing about pyramids too, isn't it? Right there it says first and greatest. Egyptologists today try and tell us that all these funny little broken down, falling over pyramids like the Red Pyramid and the Step Pyramid and all these, that they were basically, that they're the oldest and that they were, the people working out how to build a pyramid. And the story literally is that they went from, the bent pyramid, which is literally bent sideways because it just doesn't stand up, and the Red Pyramid, which is mud brick, and they say, they went from that, and they're not very big, to this, the, biggest, most perfectly sort of aligned and built structure on the planet. So, so many sort of falsities. Here we have a few more pyramids. Now these look like Ethiopian pyramids. See how they're a lot more pointy with the angles? That's what you find in Ethiopia a lot. This, it says Egyptian pyramid. So maybe these were in, who knows how many of these were lost. Because, look at that picture there. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. And again, they do look a bit flooded, don't they? None of them are looking like they're sitting as they were built. You can see here, have a sphinx. And look at this. Did you spot that again? Sorry, but this book doesn't have the best magnification, but look at that face sticking out of the ground. That's huge. This is a big sphinx. Look at the people next to it. I don't think that's the sphinx. It doesn't look big enough. Interesting head though, human face. But yeah, look at that. And then of course in the background, huge domes, big walled Star City, towers. The whole lot in Egypt in the 1600s. And I'm not sure what's going on with that bit down there. And again, here we have, the people who sail across in their boats, coming to enslave people with bits of paper. and destroy the civilization. Oh, that's the same picture again. Cross-section of the pyramid, and this is a good example of how, you know, we get all these pictures and they put them up as designs and, you know, schematics and of these buildings, but clearly they're not. Clearly this is not a design of the Great Pyramid. It's just someone's drawn, measured out what's actually in there. Interesting to know that they knew about all the internal chambers back in the 1600s. I'm thinking we've got King and Queen's, or what's called King and Queen's Chamber. And look how this is drawn as well. Can you see how it's sort of drawn? See those lines, and it's split down the middle? With this cross-hatching again. The entrance to the pyramid, the ascent into the first gallery. Oh, so back here it's the first gallery, second gallery. Nice. Chamber, antechamber. Pyramids. So let's see. I haven't actually looked all through this book yet. Ground sepulchres maintain themselves by breaking them up and digging out the mummified bodies. Oh. For since from ploughing the land by reason of its barrenness they can scarcely feed themselves, therefore they hire such as are willing with money either to search caves underground within their jurisdiction found already, or cause to be fought and digged up anew, and not yet discovered ones in the dry and barren sands, where it is supposed many never yet found. So it's talking about mummies and basically people digging up mummies and treasures and things, and how they pay them money to go and dig things up. And here we have them down in an underground, catacomb building with lots of mummies that they have found. An interesting sort of flag up here. Oh, and here we have some sarcophagi. So this one rather plain. So I'm just wondering if this is supposed to be showing it before and after it was sort of finished, artified. Spreading the wings. We have the, what is that? The disc, the sun disc, is that basically, it is very similar, let's not lie. It's very, very similar to the halo that we see in Christian depictions. You just move it down a bit behind the head and it's exactly the same. They call it the sun disc here. This, I guess it's a guy, I'm guessing that's Horus. But yeah, pretty. Again, look at the drawing. Look at the detail they get, and the lifelikeness. It's just very cool. The postrature of two such funeral Solomonites, according to droughts found. So he's talking a lot about people digging stuff up from the ground. And this is in the 1600s. So imagine what was down there now. They're still finding stuff, 400 years later. So it looks like someone's found something. They're coming through. But, huge buildings everywhere. Again, it's not really the picture that we're given in history. Some of the animals. Just some crocodiles or alligators. Iguanas, looks like man bear cow is what it's called. Several Eastern people eat them as good food, which was customary, although here only forbidden to Apollinopolitans. Whether it was because the daughter of the king, as you may read in Herodotus, was devoured by a crocodile. They're not trying to say that's a crocodile, are they? The city of crocodiles, blah, 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 blah. And here we have Egypt. Of course, in the background, castles, they're just everywhere. But, I mean, how's this? This is Egypt. This looks straight out of a fairy tale. Like, look what the women's hats they're wearing. Now, these are the ones that you see, the princesses, and they have the big bits of material hanging off them. This guy looks, you know, from the Middle East or Tartaria or somewhere. And he's in Africa too. These guys look like, you know, what we're told is kind of English in the Middle Ages, which of course didn't exist. The Egyptians live long. Men in Egypt live longer than in other places, for they say it's useful to find people, it's usual to find people above 100 years old. The reason of which longevity physicians much differ about, yet in general they aligned as one chief cause their spare life in eating and drinking, whereas on the contrary all Europeans which drink in abundance of wine and eat much flesh and are for the most part short-lived, for as immoderate use of flesh generates good blood and quickens the natural heat. For as a moderate use of flesh generates good blood and quickens the natural heat, for the immoderate use of I'm doing my best here, guys, of for the immoderate use of, I'm not sure what that is, the natural moisture making it become rough and vicious, so flopping the activity circulation with the load of something, repletions, flame of the lamp, oh my gosh. Therefore the Egyptians living sparingly and do not distemper themselves with high fate, their blood being thus attenuated spins out of a longer thread of life to them. Okay. Than our guzzling and debauched nations. So there you go, back in the 1600s, a bit of health advice. Don't be gluttonous. So yeah, moderation is what that's saying, and it's saying that these Egyptian people are long-lived because they eat in moderation, don't eat, you know, too much meat, don't drink too much wine, all this kind of stuff. Their habits are neat but not gorgeous, okay? So they're neat. Yeah, moderation, and then it says that, you know, and we've heard the stories of all the kings, you know, who knows if they're true, Henry VIII and that, and even Nero, you know, these people that basically ate themselves to death. And we still see that today. Barbary, which is another name for Africa. It's mainly the northern part of Africa. And this is, yeah, what we would call barbarous. Of course, that name's been added. And oh my gosh, look at this. They've just cut the heads of all these people. It does not look like a nice way to go. Other to a long chain, the malefactor too soon as he cometh climbs up the ladder with the executioner, who thrusting the hook through his left hand, hangs him by it on the shorter chain, then to that on the longer he flattens him out by the fall of his right foot, whereby insufferable torments he often remains hanging there for, oh my God, 3 or 4 days until he dies. That's, dude, these guys were just satanic. And of course they're still around. Some more natives, and again these, you know, Barbary Coast, Northern Africa. I mean, it is close to the Middle East, but still, I mean, and this, look at the clothes they're wearing. It's just, and it's very elaborate. Is that the right word? Very well made, elaborate clothing. Big castle up here. To paradise, as the angel brought Habakkuk to Daniel into the lion's den, some cut off the whole beard, retrieving only 2 large moustaches. but such are stricken into years where their beards grow long but cut round. So just telling us about some of the traditions. More camels, peoples, bushes, buffalo, I'm guessing, yeah, with the horns there. Got some ostriches. So this is, they're saying Barbary. And like I said, Barbary is normally sort of the northern part of, or was, of Africa, which is basically now the Sahara. And here they're showing it with animals and vegetation. Oh my God, is that New York? What is that? Koninklijk or Morocco. Wow. Look at the size of that city, but what is that? They tell us skyscrapers, guys, started, what was it, the 1920s, I think? New York, look at that. And I mean, this wall itself is what, 4 or 5 stories? So this is probably 6 or 7. So how tall is this? We're talking about a 20-story building. And of course more over here. Just all these towers everywhere. What are these towers for? Are they water towers? I think water has had a lot more to do with these star cities, and that's why all the canals were filled in and the water was stopped and the current was stopped flowing. And you know, look at this. They've got this amazing, huge, you know, city that has got buildings in it that we could not replicate today. And in the foreground, we've got people just with a jug of water. It looks like they might have a well there, and they're just hauling it around in pottery jars and then going home to live in this city. That's madness, and it goes all the way around here. Wow, that's just ridiculous. Who's this? This is Moulay Ashed Zerif, Prince of Tafaleta, Emperor of Morocco. 1670. Is that a 1? So there you go, Emperor of Morocco in the 1600s. Look at, oh my gosh, this drawing now, see how it's sort of looks wavy here and on an angle. And here we have sail. Sail, I think, sail. But again, I mean, it's just the same old story, isn't it? 1600s Africa, every single city, every port is a star city. And we're talking huge built out city. And the amount of materials that would go in, just the materials that would go into to building something like this is ridiculous. Yet we see no industry. And I've mentioned it before, you know, in all the old stories and all the old fairy tales, we hear of the woodcutters, you know, the butcher, the baker, the candlestick maker, but we never hear of the bricklayer or the architect or the engineer or the glass maker or the, you know, we hear of blacksmiths, but they just make swords, don't they? We don't hear of them making wrought ironwork. So more inhabitants of Barbary, and just not looking at all like what we're told the inhabitants are and or were of Northern Africa. Look at this thing. So this looks like it's just sort of telling, like I said, I'll leave the link for this book, you can have a read of it. The King of Morocco's letter to King Charles I of England. Here we have that guy with the cool mustache. And again, these top hat type things. And it looks like they're cruising out now. They've been to Barbary, they've met their people. Now they're going, this is La Rochelle, is it? Again, just same story. Huge star city. Big spires, all the stuff. All of the usual suspects. Oh, and here we have a bird's eye view. Clearly that is a star city. You can see it's completely walled. We even have these points, the Cavaliers, outposts. And so this is interesting, that this big square building, and it's got a big, huge antenna on the top of it. This is the city of Tanger. Now the first question would be, if this is in the 1600s, why would they need a big antenna? But looking at this map, again, I mentioned it before, and just look at this as well, in the water, big walls in the water for their port. Yeah, Martin was looking at maps of world's fairs and comparing them to computer boards, circuit boards. I mean, just look at this bit down here. How much does that look like a circuit board? And I've mentioned it in a few videos recently that all these buildings, the old world ones, are built with courtyards in the middle. Now, is that part, what does that mean? This looks like a RAM, where they hold RAM in a circuit board. And then we just have all these circuits. So what is this? And is this generating energy? Is this some kind of director pointing straight at this? And does this then, through its antenna, give off free energy? I don't know. Using the current of water to run it, or I don't know. What do you think? Here's a nice fleur-de-lis. How's that? That looks very Aztec, doesn't it? Again, sorry I can't get any closer. And of course stamped with the invader's coat of arms. And of course, coat of arms, it's all about war, right? Arms or weapons. Another huge Starfort. Arzile, not sure, but again, just a huge star city. Oh my golly gosh, look at that one. That is huge. Look at this boat too, just surrounded. It looks like it's done a fart or something. Maybe they're getting attacked by someone. But yeah, look at this. Right, look at that whole hillside, and it's completely walled. Massive structure here. And then we have these sort of outbuildings, a few more castles up here. That is, wish I could get in closer on these photos, but unfortunately that's as far as it's letting me go. This is, and all the names are right in the fold. Algiers, I'm thinking this is Algiers, the port of let's call it Algiers. Nice big dome here, and is that more civilization there? Don't know. Boats, and I was thinking about boats as well. Ships, tall ships. With all this rigging that they have, I mean, and they have just ridiculous amounts of rigging. Now, obviously these, bits here, these are basically ladders to get up to the crow's nest and stuff. But all this other rigging, I was just wondering, will these old tech boats and the sails just added later, because they've got so many what look like wires just running all over them. Don't know, just another thought. Barbary again, and how's this for a bit of a flutter? Look at this, look at the ground level, it's just all over the place. Even up to this wall by the looks of it. And you can see this is the old gate, and look, this is just dirt straight up the wall. So I'm not sure what's going on there. These guys, as you can see, are coming through another doorway in the wall. And so, you know, this looks like maybe, I don't know. Actually, there's doors in there. There's someone in there under the bridge. I don't know, this just looks very flooded out. There are usually 6 gates open and others shut. The 5th is that of Babylon, I think, which is towards the east in its suburbs, which is very small and wont to lodge the merchant Moors, and very small, and I'm not sure, the merchant Moors, interesting, I'm mentioning the Moors, and Arabs which bring provisions into the city, blah, 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 Charles V. So there we go, just talking about a bit of a town and some trading they were doing. Here's another one. Oh my gosh, look at that. 1600s in Africa, guys. Look at this thing. Just out in the water, because that's where you would build something like this, right? It looks like the remnants of a Starfort there. And this again, you know, we're starting to see this everywhere. You know, these buildings don't seem to be built on mountains. They seem to be, they seem to kind of morph into the mountain, let's just say that. Just African people from Barbary, just looking European, but I mean, you know, these dudes do look a bit Middle Eastern, I'll give them that. Churches, domes, Antiquitech, and people in the foreground just carrying a piece of wood around. This may be a funeral. Yeah, everyone's looking pretty sad here, so that's probably a coffin. Lots of debris sort of lying on the ground, isn't there? And here, is that a little house? Looks like a little house, but in the background, got all this, Antiquitech, domes, brick buildings, rotundas. So this is obviously talking about how they treat their dead. It looks like they're going to mummify this guy. And mummification is something that seems to have been done all over the world in the past as well. Again, we're still in Barbary, Northern Africa. Not sure who's sitting in this. Maybe it's a portable toilet. Who knows? I mean, this is, you know, the juxtaposition of these pictures, it's just every single one. I mean, look at this. And this is just some dude. And you know, again, look at what he's wearing too. Very, very finely made, ornate clothes, completely covered in patterns. I mean, look at the roof on that. Antiquitech looks like an angel or a bird with the wings open, which means charged or charging, is that right? Is that a half moon, dome, obelisks, and huge cities in the back? This building is huge, look at that. And yeah, this dude just standing up here with his remote control, about to change the channel of reality for the poor African inhabitants. I mean, here we go again. Nigeria, massive Starfort. I mean, and just look at this shape here. Just complete. And it looks like this is the front. Are they houses or trees? I don't know if that's, maybe it is the back wall. But again, the usual suspects, you know, huge towers, big square buildings, surrounded by a wall. And what is a circuit? You know, a circuit is you know, if you think of like a race car circuit, it's something you start at one point and you go around and you finish at the same point, right? It's a circuit. I don't know, like a wall. Maybe. This is Thunis. Look at these clouds. I think someone's been spraying a bit today. And again, I can't get into much, but this looks like a big wall here and a massive, big huge walled star city here. And this, what's this half sunken thing? Looks like there's some kind of wall. Oh my gosh, I didn't even see that. So they said this looks like it's been flooded. You know, this is clearly half underwater. These are just clearly built out. You know, you don't build buildings like this just on sandbars and things. Here we've got half a building. Very interesting. You know, the world, we lost this. Again, we would just talk castles with just square little things with these walls, just little squares, and they might have a citadel in the middle. And now we find out that they're literally sprawling cities, full of cathedrals and antiquitech and towers. And I'm wondering, you know, are these towers water towers? Are they something to do with the flow of water or current? Okay, a few more natives here, looking a bit more native-y to what we're sort of told. This guy's taking his chances, isn't he? Holding that blade there. Umbrellas. You do see them a bit in the old African, but they're a lot more sort of attributed to Asia these days. But I think, as we're finding out, a lot of this stuff, it's all worldwide. And again, it's just, you know, these new people have come in with their hats and their paper and their laws and basically just, lie to these people and take away their lands. Not sure what's going on there. This looks like they're maybe showing the village. They're probably just saying, look, these guys are just, you know, hunter-gatherers, so we can destroy them. It's okay. Don't stress. And so we go from that kind of a scene, you know, this wooden structure, you know, everyone half naked, not much there, to, you know, castles. What is going on? And this is the thing, was there a reset beforehand? Like, are we talking, I mean, obviously there's been multiple resets, you know, the sort of Noah's flood was one. It doesn't seem to be the most recent one though. You know, so it looks like there was multiple resets. So were there people sort of trapped in the middle of these resets that didn't get back to understanding of the tech and things, and so did sort of turn back into more hunter-gatherers, and that's sort of why we're getting these pictures. You know, you see this in South America as well. There just seems to be different tribes have just these, you know, greatly different levels of tech or of remembering. Maybe, you know, some will be, you know, have sort of wooden clubs and loincloths, and others will have, you know, hats and fine cut cloth clothes and metal blades and all this kind of stuff. Very strange. Definitely doesn't fit a linear timeline. Huge castle there, just because you do. And of course a massive town. Again, look, is that a bridge? Huge bridge out there over the water. It looks like it's on a bit of an island. Starfort, Star City, half buried by the looks of it, with a huge cathedral with Antiquitech on top, charging up. Another one, and these are all different places. These are all different ports. Cormantian. Again, same thing. Looks like they might have got this one already because they got their flags up on the Antiquitech. Maybe that's what the whole flag thing is. You know, we conquer you, we destroy your tech and put our flag up there because you've now signed the paper under that flag. Oh, I'm not going to say that word because in the current climate, I'll probably get taken down, but you can see what that's called. This is obviously the origins of that word. I'm guessing it was maybe a region. People just having a bit of a swim, doing their dishes. Adjoining to the village, Little Commendo, near the sea, lies a hill which, appearing to contain in its bowels much gold. In the year 1622, the inhabitants began to dig for it, but because they were ignorant in the method of mining, the hollowed earth fell in, smothering divers of the workmen. Something. So yeah, basically they tried to dig the gold out and didn't work. How did they know the gold was in there? Why was gold worth something to them? Questions. And again, you know, using axes and hand tools to make wooden boats, while there's castles just down the road. Like this. Okay, so it looks like this guy looks fairly tall, doesn't he? And he also looks like, oh, actually, is he being carried? He's on a horse. Okay. I was going to say he looks like a leader. I think these, yeah, they're all the same. Oh, just looking at these spears. Yeah, no, they've got shields. I think these are the invaders coming in. And look at these. These are all eagles, are they? With their wings open. Look at that. This is Benin. And see this wall along here? It's not drawn too well, but that looks like a big star city. You can see a tower there, something here. Big tower. And again, I mean, this is supposed to have been drawn by hand. Jurisdiction extends over many cities and towns. So this is the leader they're talking about. So they're cruising around. They've brought their armies in. And they're saying, hey man, show us what you own, so we can take it. And he says, I rule this star city of Luengo, with its huge towers on the hills. I was going to say aqueduct, but that looks like the ruins of a cathedral or something. Who knows? He's got all his fields and he's growing food in there, and it's all walled in. These big towers. And see, they can build these big walls. I mean, I don't know. They kind of, with all the supports, I don't know, they kind of look a bit woody, don't they? But, you know, I don't think these are. But yeah, they're just carrying people around on a pole. And horse and cart and all this kind of stuff that we see everywhere. And they're just like two realities imposed on top of each other almost. Nether Ethiopia. So I'll just sort of flick through these. I know we've been going a bit here. Hail to the king. Still hailing the king. See, this is all BLM stuff, is where it started. You have to bow down. This is Banza, Salvador in the Congo. And how's that for a cool castle? Just like literally built into the cliff here. Or is it? Looks like it may have been taken over already, decharged. Someone else is now in charge. Very cool. I'm not sure how many more. Oh, look at that. That's where the love heart started. Did not know that. And see these sort of top hatty type looking hats. You do see them around. Kind of also like the pilgrims. What we're told of the pilgrims in the Americas. Again, I've seen this before. This is another way to carry people. They have like their hammock seat. Of course, you need the umbrella and a little footstool. This guy's like, nah, bugger it. The sun's killing me. I'm covering myself. I don't have my SPF 50. You hanging with your umbrella. I ain't taking chances. This guy's like, yep, I'm with you, man. I'm covered. Covered. COVID-19. The king. And how's this for a chandelier or a candelabra? And again, just sitting around in an old world building, all the invaders have come in and are pretending to worship the king. He still thinks he's going to live. The Earl of Sango. Earl? That does not sound like an African term. The most potent in all of Congo was subject to the kings, but considering the woods of something which surrounds his country like a bulwark, he fortified it. Oh, so they're saying that he fortified it. Let's see what he fortified. Oh, that's a pretty cool throne. And, again, they're, tribesmen, but they've just got solid gold, crowns and all these sort of jewel type stuff. Because, that's what you focus on, don't you? When you're out there in the middle of nowhere and you've got no tech, you really just want a gold crown. How would they even know what a gold crown was? And this is the thing with crowns as well. It's all across the earth. Same thought. That looks a bit ominous, doesn't it? St. Paul's. And again, you can see that's the best I can get, but you can see it's completely built out. You can too, kitty? That's nice. Yep, she can. And here you can see it looks a bit more like a pencil drawing. But still, the effects they get is ridiculous. Look at this. Star Citadel. Cabo de Bon Esperance, or something similar. And we have, that looks like an orangutan. I don't think you get orangutans in Africa anymore. I'm pretty sure they're just in Asia now. So that's interesting. It could be a very badly drawn ape, of course. It's got a big belly. Looks like there's a few more down here. Partridges and pheasants with fine coloured feathers. The fourth has a cap of feathers on its head. Blah, 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 blah. A bit about the animals. Okay, so we get back to this whole theme of chopping people up and cannibalism, all this kind of stuff. We've got a box here. It looks like it's full of bones. And what's going on here is this a washover from a reset where people were starving, and of course, if it was something like a flood, most of the plants would be gone for a while at least, but animals would survive. Maybe you could have them for a while, but then maybe they, did they turn on each other, and then that just sort of became, a habit, a cultural thing, I don't know, but we definitely do see this kind of behaviour quite a bit in these older books, always around the sort of 1500s. I've got a lion here. He's looking a lot like the lion from the Wizard of Oz, isn't he? Looks like he stuck that beard on. He's got a human head. And again, that's a drawing. That's a drawing. Wow. So just... I thought she had like some fish on the end of her fishing pole, but they're actually people walking across the river, but I thought she was hanging some fish. That's funny. This guy is like, hey man, I thought she was hanging fish. This chick. That it's just dudes. And they're like, yeah, not funny, but I do too have a feather. Tug of War. So this is where Tug of War started, in Nether Ethiopia. The first game of professional Tug of War back in the 1600s. And it looks like it started with something gross. I don't know. Are they tugging bloody bits of people's? And again, and this whole thing as well, and it looks like they're going at it again here. They got hold of someone there. And this guy's tied up and they're taking shots at him. Is this how they treated their enemies? Or is this, is this, these are all drawings. Is this real, or is this propaganda of the 1600s? Trying to say that, all these inhabitants that they went and found were just, savages and cannibals and all this kind of stuff. So, they were heathens, right? And all these people were coming in the name of the Lord, and so they had to get rid of the heathens, so it gave them the right to destroy things. I don't know, what do you think? The African Isles, look at these guys. Jewelry, fine clothes. Definitely not looking African. This dude's got a huge head. Playing a bit of music, having a bit of celebration, playing some more Tug of War, I think. Or are they chopping? Maybe this is their stonework. This is how they built all those cities. I don't know. He's struggling with a piece of wood though, so not looking too good. Cool hats. So they're talking about trading with gold and silver. So these people knew what gold and silver were, as did everyone across the earth. This guy's sitting up. He's got his foot planting his umbrella. Clearly he's of different origin to these people that are carrying him. So maybe these guys have now imposed their power. But it does say African Isles. So maybe this area had already been sort of taken over. I don't know. Like I said, this is all readable. Would of course take me hours though, so I'll leave the link. Again, one of these scenes, right? Very sort of Aztec as well, isn't it? The whole sort of theme. You have these kind of priests in their big funny hats and dresses, and lots of sacrificing going on. I've got no idea at all what that is. St. Helena. Oh, it's an island. It's a very mountainous island. It's got lots of valleys. And then a map. So we're getting to the end. Alright, so thanks for hanging out with me. These look like just the islands off the top of, sort of in the Mediterranean. No idea what they are though. And also see these lines. These are on all the old maps. Oh, here we have some Antiquitech going down. Angels, wings. Yeah, all these lines. You see them on all the old maps. And they were to do with, energy grid points. So that's something else that's been lost. Michelle Gibson gets into that, with energy grid and what's actually built on these different points. Again, huge castles, mud flooded looking castle up here. Kitty is determined to have her say. Big gargoyle up here, big griffin up here. And what's it holding in its claw down there? Is that its claw? I don't know. And all this scrolling stuff that we see, it's always this scrolling stuff, isn't it? Scrolling. This is just a bit of a better shot. And as you can see now, the invaders have taken over. The inside of the fort, the cringe upon something. So there you go, they've taken up, they've put their flags on, they've taken charge of this battery. And some cannonballs and cannons, and just cannons laying around. So were these really meant for firing balls, or were they some kind of something else? Canary Islands. Whoa. Big cliffs. Got a bit of Phoenician down here. Neptune with his trident. Snakes. Got no mermaids here. Got the cross. And just showing. Is that inhabitants? Yeah, look at that. They look like big starforts. I'm not sure. There again. And that whole place is just inhabited everywhere. And it's a big starfort there as well. So this is the old world. The old world was just covered in starforts. Oh my god. What is this? Malta. Yeah, okay. Malta. Malta is one big starfort, basically. As you can see in this picture, look at that. And most of this is still there in Malta. Look at that. Got the water. So what's going on here? We have this big star shape. We draw lightning these days with angles like this, pointing straight at this thing. This looks like it's full of water. It's some kind of something. And of course at the end we have a fountain, and we have this thing which looks like what we see on the top, where we get domes and things. These, I'm not sure what they are actually. And that's pointing at this sort of big, this is very grid-like looking, isn't it? Very circuitry looking. It's just pointing off. Very interesting. And of course another huge starfort down here, right on the water, which they always are. And look at this thing just out in the water. But this, look at this, surrounded, all the moats are still there. Supplying the current situation. Alrighty, and that looks like we have come to the end of that book. And oh my god, there's another one here. So I think since we're an hour into this, maybe we'll leave this for another video. As you can see, there's a nice starfort here. This is also Africa. Showing, many of the same kind of things, and a bit of the flora and fauna. Alright guys, thanks for spending some time with me. I hope you like that little walk through Africa in the 1600s and a look at, again, just the story we're given just does not match up the reality that we can see, the physical reality. So thanks for spending some time with me. Please like, subscribe, share this video so we can beat the YouTube algorithm. Hit the bell so you can be notified of all my uploads. And of course, if you do want to support this channel and if you are able, then there are links below in the description. Alright guys, have a fantabulous day and I shall talk to you all on the next upload.